The recording has started. You can, over to you. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mathew Roy. I have presented before. Can you, Manoj, am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay. So I have actually done this webinar, this kind of a webinar earlier, and that was actually about full self-driving in a Tesla vehicle, which is actually also an artificial intelligence topic. And there was actually a lot of feedback, and people actually tell me that actually inspired them so much about getting into AI. So it is actually very interesting because when I actually did that webinar, it was about a year back or something, and that technology, the car was actually still in the infancy. It was I actually tried it, and I was too afraid to actually, it's a supervised full self-driving. That means that you have to pay attention and you have to take control when needed, and then that actually it was kind of not very working not correctly with me, and I sort of abandoned it in between. The thing is, by 1 year now, that technology is so prevalent now, and a lot of people are actually using it without even worrying about what is going to happen. It's actually become very. I mean, I wouldn't say it is completely foolproof, but my neighbor here actually is driving a car from here in Cyprus to Dallas every week or every other week or something like that, and she goes there and she tells me that it happens without any interruption most of the time. Rarely, and she completely trusts the system and she goes in there. I'm sure that there will be some situations where she has to handle, but getting into there is that kind of system is truly amazing. I couldn't think of something like that a few years back. So I just want to actually explain why I actually did this, why I'm actually doing this webinar. Because that experience of delivering that webinar and asking answering the questions and talking to people afterwards really inspired me more. And now I will slowly go into this webinar. This is a little more technical topic. I'm just putting this slide in there so that people can actually read it and just familiarize with. Something happened in December 2025. I was also, ChatGPT came in and people were using ChatGPT, and we'll just quickly go through those things. But in December 2025, something happened, and this guy, his name is Barkov. He's actually, there's a lot of people who are hyping AI, right? AI can do that thing, AI will take over, all that kind of stuff. And this is actually a guy I relied on a lot in Twitter, X, that, he actually doesn't hype. He actually tells his assistants. He actually criticized the ChatGPT for their overhyping the product. I mean, they were actually, probably for different reasons, they used to overhype the product. And he was one of the one who was actually criticized that kind of hyping. So when he actually answered the Sergey Karayov, he's also a famous researcher in the space. And when he actually, you could read that. I mean, what he's saying is that Claude, I will go through this and explain these terms very well, and you will get familiarized with this product. Claude, it's not only Claude, it's Claude with Opus 4.5 is a watershed moment, moving software creation from an artisanal craftsman activity to a true industrial process. It is the Gutenberg press, sewing machine, and the photo camera. And then Barkov, I will not go into his thing, you can read it. But this thing about Gutenberg press that he makes, that point he makes, is so interesting, because what happened there is actually there. So because of that, because I have to explain this, I'll just quickly go through that. This will actually enable us to get into more technical aspects of this training easily, right? I mean, we are just talking about some historical engineering history. That's what I would like to call it. Engineering has its own history, right? Industrial revolution and things that happened. And so I will just quickly go through this, and then we will actually get into the core of the webinar, and from there we will go from there. So show that. So you actually saw this Gutenberg press, and I just wanted to explain what happened in there. In 15th century, there were actually a lot of things in place. I mean, the pieces that actually finally made the press was already there. Screw press was actually a device that you can actually see that it's actually a device that can press wine and olive oil, and that actually that process, creation of the wine and olive oil, that kind of process was there for a long time earlier. So that was there. Then there is this oil-based ink that painters and art people used to do, oil-based ink. And then there is metal type. You actually make letters A and B and all that based on metals. So these three, look at the three technologies: screw press, oil-based ink, and metal type. And you can you have some engineering background, you can think about this as how it actually all came together. And he actually, what he made, Gutenberg, in Mainz, Germany, 15th century, was actually he combine all these existing technologies. I mean, unrelated to what we are doing. I mean, the press was it's not anything related to any of these things actually there. But then he actually kind of, nobody else could actually do it, but he actually made up that connection and combined all these technologies to create a magnificent discovery. It's the printing press, right? And then I don't have to explain a lot about what the printing press. I mean, of course, I don't have to explain what the printing process is, but what happened there is till press was invented, the printing press was invented. Every book has to be made manually. That takes a lot of time, and the books are a very precious commodity, and you have to actually so the prevalence is actually less. I mean, people in vastly different parts of the world will never actually understand a book or anything like that. So once the press is developed, and the press is actually multiple presses are developed, what happened was mass production of books or printed material happened, and that really, I mean, it's all argument, but that triggered actually the Renaissance, Industrial Revolution, and in fact, actually a religious revolution. We didn't go into that, but I think it triggered certain things. You can check up what actually the press has triggered, and then it's a truly watershed moment. Some books can be actually anybody some idiot sitting there in Kerala, Mathew, can actually read a book, and understand what the world is. And this is the thing about the Gutenberg press, and that's what he's actually talking about when Carrier was saying it's a Gutenberg press moment, the watershed moment that Claude Code and Opus 4.5. I mean, thing about this kind of moments is that we never actually understand when it is going on. We only understand once we are past that, when we historically analyze that. And what he's saying, and he might be wrong, and who knows. Actually, another thing. I mean, when I started with this presentation, Claude Code, this topic, this product was actually the product that was hype of the market. Now, by the time I actually talked to Manoj and agreed the presentation, another beautiful products have actually come into the market. We will go into some of those products, but I think we have to understand that this is happening, and there is actually a lot of hype. There's a lot of I was talking to Suresh earlier, that there's not a lot of companies are actually not fully adopting these products. I actually work for a fairly large oil company here. Our company, I mean, it's way early. I mean, we are so behind actually in the AA game. It's kind of sad sometimes, but that's how they are. They are conservative. They take them time for that. But it is happening, and you wouldn't. I don't think anybody would have any control on when when a printing press actually started becoming a thing. People, kings and priests and other people, other controlling entities in Europe had actually no control over that. I mean, things actually, ideas began, spreading past. So I guess, why I even actually spend this much time on this part of, Gutenberg press is that it is how engineers control the destiny of the humankind. I mean, I take it that most of the people who are actually here as an engineer, you have actually a huge role to play how human kind is actually moving forward, and not only building things. I mean, actually, making changes where things happen. And this is where I will stop. I'm thinking that what we are going through is a huge revolution. We will only know, or we can only conclude that once it is, once we are all through it, and maybe even years after this. So that said, I will actually move forward with this. Okay. Um, so I am going to actually go through the history a little bit in the history of the AI tools that are monumental in our life these days. Of course, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is actually introduced 4 years back now. So all ChatGPT does is, I mean, ChatGPT. I mean, I don't have to explain. I mean, maybe I have to. I don't know, but tell me if I have to explain more what ChatGPT is, or what it does. It actually, it's a thing where you ask questions and it answers correctly, and it generates human-like text. That was actually the thing when ChatGPT came initially. And people actually immediately adopted. I mean, 100 million users in the first few months, and it was actually a thing. And for me also, it was actually a huge thing, because till that point, I was actually just new thing. I mean, I started with the mainframes. Then I think client server technology came, then internet came, then that thing, this thing. But when I am actually getting into my 50s, I realized that I may not be able to actually write programs so much. So ChatGPT for me was actually a huge thing, because I really got my interest back in these kind of things. I mean, till that point, it was like, it's going, somebody to tell me to write a program, or troubleshoot a program, or debug a program, or design a program, or database or something, and I'll do that. But this is something which I got really passionate after 2022, maybe because of the COVID and all that, things going on in there. But ChatGPT for many of us is actually a huge moment. But I think we are not talking about ChatGPT this time. We are actually talking about what happened after ChatGPT. So let's actually. That being said, I'll just pause. I don't think we have actually a lot of time for questions, but I think I will quickly move into the next topic, and you have to pay attention a little bit here because we will actually get into some more detailed stuff. So far, we are actually talking about the history and these kind of things. But let's move forward. Now onwards, it will actually be a little more intense. Ask me if there is actually something which which is completely unclear. But I think I'll give you a time after that. So ChatGPT, and then I'm going to talk about. I want to actually introduce this product called Claude, CLAUD, and this is another level of. I don't know how many people use Claude here. People use ChatGPT, people use Gemini, and all the other things, and what is called Perplexity. Claude is actually not that much used. I use actually it, but it's a company called Anthropic. They actually. There's an ex-OpenAI guy who actually founded this company, and this is different because ChatGPT had certain philosophy. Claude actually came with a different kind of philosophy. They want to innovate and invent more, and so I would pay a lot of attention to this company name. I mean, Anthropic, and they may have actually even an IPO coming out this year. I think we should pay attention because this is a company which actually are so keen on innovating, and actually they have a little bit of not little bit, they actually at least say a lot about the responsible AI. That's their CEO actually is talking about responsible AI, and I am not much convinced about how that and all will happen, but it's a company which is it's a little more responsible than OpenAI, and from my point of view, they are actually more into innovating. They can think out of the box, out of the ChatGPT chatbot, out of the chatbot actually. So that's what it is. So they are careful. They have different in enterprise and professional setting. They are actually becoming more prominent. But Claude is actually one thing I can actually it's a little. Let's just do a little thing in there. I think I see that some people may not actually know what Claude is, right? I mean, I will just bring Claude. So in this is Chrome, and I'm actually just going to bring Claude here. And Claude is actually just like ChatGPT, it will actually open up a how can you help here. So I am not actually going to spend time write me a program in C or Rust or Python or something like that, right? So this is Claude, and this is actually the models out there. Opus. This model was released a few days back. We'll talk about that. I don't want to talk to go far too far with that. But this is actually the browser-based version of Claude. I mean, ChatGPT also has actually this kind of a browser-based version. And then people who are familiar with the ChatGPT, I'll switch between these two sessions. Hopefully, you follow with me. These things, right? So one thing which the ChatGPT introduced, I think ChatGPT introduced this thing called projects. I don't know how many of you use projects a lot. I actually used projects a lot earlier. I would actually put my personal stuff in there. If I want to actually go for a trip in, I'm actually going for a trip in the country of Jordan, right? So I will actually put Jordan trip here. I create this project. I'm still actually in ChatGPT. I could do all this and the key thing here is that I could add files here, right? And then I know a lot of you may have actually, this has been around for like 3-4 years now. So people have used this for sure. So I could add files, photos, text in there relevant to my Jordan trip, right? If I actually put all that, what it will do is it will actually give me answers relevant to my Jordan trip. If I could put my itinerary in there, I could put the hotel reservations in there. I can fully make that itinerary and I can ask it to plan my trip. So this is actually an early development, and if you actually come into Claude also, they actually also have this. So they also have actually this project somewhere here. I don't know. I mean, yeah, this project. I mean, so these things. I mean, if I actually put Gemini in there, I wouldn't go in there. I will just say that if you put Google's LLM application in there, they also actually have that. Now, I think what and then Claude actually introduced. Let's go back to the presentation and make it play. And this is mine. And Claude is created by Anthropic. This company, you should pay attention. IPO would be coming. And it is actually a little more thoughtful and innovative company. Now, let's go forward. So the old paradigm is when you actually use ChatGPT, you ask a question and AI actually responds and you read it, right? That's it. That's what actually if you are, probably make bigger here. So that's what I think this used to do. You actually ask, this is. I mean, I'm not denying that this is highly useful. We actually all use this and read it. But we want to actually go to the next step, right? I mean, it's just with 3 years. I mean, new developments has come, and that one next step is actually this. You actually you ask a question. You give a task, and AI uses tools and take action and done. So this is very different. I mean, it's not actually ChatGPT. It is actually something different. What it is AI can actually do stuff. So this example is actually very, very representative. Rename all my vacation photos to include a date. I mean, earlier you may can actually do it in a single command, but you just ask this task. AI will actually do it. That's a difference. Very important moving forward. That this agentic AI can actually do stuff on your behalf when you ask questions. I mean, the LLM or the language model will actually interpret the question, understand the question, and then it uses its tools to actually take action. I could, even though I don't have to do that, one another example would be I would just tell him, send an email to Manoj saying that this webinar is. Can you actually put some more advertisements for the webinar? I just have to tell it, and it will actually find who Manoj is, and it will send it. And it is, you have to be careful because it might actually send to the wrong Manoj. All that is there, but I think the idea is that it can take action. I will actually, so it is becoming more like a servant to a partner also. I think and at this point it's more like a servant, but we will see how it actually becomes a partner. Moving forward, so I think what I was explaining here was old paradigm was actually answering questions. Here actually you can do things. I don't know how many of you are actually familiar with this second action. It's called agentic AI, and that's the whole idea here. But it's very few people. I think I haven't seen actually a lot of people who actually understood this or even actually using it. The agentic part. I mean, but now if you actually go to Claude or OpenAI or other tools, you should see what are the agent functionalities out there, and that's what we will actually do moving forward. Now, moving forward again, I just want to actually tell. This is actually the tweet that I showed earlier. What he was saying was there was software development before Claude Code and Opus 4.5, and there is software development after. This Claude Code is actually, I haven't explained it very well. And I think I have a slide out there. Claude Code with Opus 4.5 is a watershed moment. I spent a lot of time actually explaining that watershed moment. But I think the key thing I have to actually say is this product called Claude Code. And how that let me see if I have it. So this is actually the crux of this webinar. Claude Code, not Claude, not OpenAI, ChatGPT or Gemini or anything like that. It's actually this product called the Claude Code. What it does is it actually comprehends your vision. It will ask you what you want to create. It will craft the code. It will orchestrate the execution of the code and perfects relentlessly. Now, what it is so far we were talking about ideas and all that. We were not talking about programming or code or something like that. That if I actually ask ChatGPT here, so let me put it into this frame here. There. Okay. This is Claude, and let me just make sure that I'm correctly. I think I wanted ChatGPT. I have to play with this Windows a little bit better. Okay. Okay. Now I think all I want to actually show there was write me a simple Rust program. And this is actually you may not be familiar with this. Is actually a new programming language which is faster than Python and other things. And a lot of people are using it. The problem is this programming language is actually so difficult. I don't know why they actually created it. It has a lot of advantages and it can actually create faster programming. But even the simple programming language is actually fairly difficult. And I only asked actually, I don't know why this is doing this, but I think I actually write a small Rust program. It actually created this program, right? So it knows how to create it. What if it can actually run this program and actually, test that program and give me an answer? That's where I think Claude Code comes in there. And the thing is, I tell him what I want to develop. I don't have to mess with the Rust syntax or anything like that. I just tell him, what I want to develop. It talks to me back. It allows me to plan with it. It will actually allow me to execute in phases, and then it actually runs it, executes it, and then I think the last one is actually the most beautiful thing in here, because it allows you to continue working on this code. I mean, most of these people here are engineers, but you may not be familiar. But what happens is ChatGPT can write some program. The next step is, when you actually launch something and, things changes happen. Somebody will I want to actually add a button there. I want to add a particular text there. I want to add the screen. It keeps on coming. There's no, people who are programmers will understand the things happen. It's when you actually finish a program and and show the user, that's just the beginning, because then that user is going to ask many questions, many changes, ongoing, there will be changes, there will be a lot of things happening. I mean, security issues, there will be, 1 year down the line, and the program always needs maintenance. So, the thing about the Claude Code or the newer agentic software is that, it allows you to actually continuously maintain the code also. So what you do, you will actually tell it. You wouldn't, you tell him, I just want to add this, button, and the button should actually do this thing, and it will actually go there, take the code. I mean, and understand the code, understand all everything about the code, and then actually run it. So this is what I'm trying to actually do. I think what I think next, if I actually go forward. What I am going to do, I talked a lot. I wanted to make sure that a bunch of people are actually joining, and we have actually fairly good amount of audience. So we will actually go and start the demos here. What I think what the demos are actually going to be, Claude Code, build apps with AI. So what we will do is we will actually build a EMEA, Malayali Engineers Association finance tracker application. We will quickly build. We don't. I mean, we are not going to spend a lot of time on that. I just want to get you the idea that this is something which you can build easily. And if somebody is actually going to take this idea and build something, that's all I am actually trying to happen. I'm not. This is not a training course or anything like that, but I just want to actually trigger in your mind that this is something. It's not. You don't have to actually write the program. If you have an idea, you don't have to write the program. You just tell it, and it makes it. And it's not like perfect, but you will get a chance to improve it. I did this. My close friend here, who is actually, I was just experimenting. I have a friend, a neighbor here, who is actually, he doesn't have a programming background. He's an engineer and an entrepreneur, and he had to develop certain business software. I'll give that examples. And I told him that you could use Claude Code to actually develop it. Again, Claude Code. I just want to make sure that you understand the terms. Or ChatGPT is ChatGPT, which is actually just a chatbot. Claude is actually a competitor chatbot, and Claude Code is actually the thing that we are talking about. It's a different thing. It interacts with the Claude or ChatGPT, that kind of thing, and then it actually build apps with the AI. So it's almost like what we did there. We actually asked the ChatGPT to write a program. It wrote a program. I don't even know what it wrote, but it wrote a program. I'm fairly certain that that model that we used is actually very advanced model. So it has probably written a code very correctly, and I could probably run it. But it doesn't allow me to run it. I have to just cut and paste and run it. But we want to go to the next step where we actually want to develop a full application, and then I think I'll do actually just for just to get it more visual. I'll make an iPhone app also. So this is typically a flow. I mean, you actually develop, if you are familiar, or if you observe actually what happens in the field. People will have an idea, some business idea, some engineering idea, some legal idea. I don't know, whatever. But they actually can develop. First, they will actually make an app, a web app, and then show you. And then I think immediately, if the application is popular, they actually they have to port it to an iPhone app or an Android app. And that's it. You will have a normal web application, and then you will have a mobile application. Some people actually currently, they even skip the web application and directly go to phone application, right? So all this is possible. And then I think these things that I have here is a little more futuristic. There's actually another product which crashed the market few days back. A lot of Indian IT companies, offshoring companies like Infosys, their share price was actually, their stocks were actually pounded, because this product actually, they actually thought, many people thought that this product will completely replace it. That's a little hype, we will see. But then the art of specialization, custom capabilities, how do we actually make how do you actually specialize something like Claude Code or Claude Work? I mean, so that they can actually be, for example, if you are a civil engineer, you are specialized, right? You are an engineer, you actually did the first year engineer in the engineering college, first year common engineering, then they add specialization to that, right? So that's what we are doing. We are actually, an LLM language model like ChatGPT or Claude is almost like a teenager. you actually send it to engineering. First year, you actually train them. That's a general purpose, transformer. It's a general purpose thing. And then you add specialization to that. You always think, I always think actually an LLM or a language model as a person. You are actually thinking. So what you do here, art of specialization, you are actually adding specialization, custom capability to it is to an LLM. And then finally, if we have time, I think I'll actually talk about Claude bot. The name has been changed recently. It's called Open Claude. It's a new thing. I don't think I have actually a lot of time to talk about that, but it's again the whole thing is, it's not me talking. You actually, all this slide is very important in my presentation. There's Claude code. That's the first step where we focus a lot and where we build apps. Then there is this Claude Cowork. This is the first part. The 1, 2, 3 are actually a programmer's toolbox, an engineer, programmer, anybody who wants to develop a program. The Cowork there is actually a business user. It's how to replace a business user. That's basically it. It's I don't want to actually sugarcoat it. That's exactly what the market is. If you actually go to market and talk to business people, that's what it is. Claude Cowork is the piece that eliminates the job of a business user. Now, I'm not going in too much into that. I will tell you what is going to happen is not it eliminates the jobs. It actually enables people to do more productive work. That's what it is. And people who are ready to work with that, they will actually prosper. People who are not ready to do with it, they will actually eventually be phased out. That's like the press or a industrial revolution tractor or something like that. Tractor, when a tractor came in, people who actually adopted tractor as a method to plow their fields, they were able to make increase productivity huge. The other people who are actually still using the the buffalo or the bull or whatever, they're behind, right? It may be actually not very apparent actually in that generation, but in one generation or so, tractor becomes prevalent and everybody has to actually do in tractor, right? I was and I'm born in I came from actually a farm type of place in Kerala, near Kottayam. And my grandfather was actually a farmer who actually plowed the fields with the bullock carts, and he has help and all that. But that's what he was doing, and he became immediately, and he didn't even realize that. By that time he was outdated. There's something different things happened in Kerala, but ultimately, that kind of less productivity has to be, if there is a way to increase productivity, people will jump into it. You or me or anybody, nobody has actually, yep, nobody has actually any role in that. We will be outdated if we don't go with that. So that's all I am saying. Called Cowork, and then we will actually go to this specialization a little bit. These things in 4, 5, 6 we'll cover with quickly. I think you should actually check it out. Once I actually started this webinar, I only focused on 1, 2, 3, and these things were added like at the end, because I see that things are changing so fast. Between December and this is just the beginning of February. The January is actually a huge month for AI. So many new products, so many new capabilities. Okay, that becomes, it's a good time. I can actually take 1 or 2 questions at this point before I go into the demo. But only, I have to actually get it fast and get moving. But if there is anybody who has a question, I'll pause for a minute and then move on. Okay, I think I will assume that everything is okay and people are interested still. So I'll move on. Manoj, let me know if there is anything I should actually answer. But so, okay, now this is what has happened. So old system, ChatGPT, it's a passive responder. You answer questions, generate text, user must copy and paste, no system access, single turn thinking. Active collaborator is actually somebody who is with you. It's almost like you have a friend who is actually working alongside with you. He can work on the same thing, takes actions, reads all this, like executes commands, full system access, which is a little problematic, but we will not talk about that yet. thinks through the problem step by step, reasoning, right? It's not actually, the reasoning capability is cool, right? Because you actually, you ask this question and it may I give you an answer, but then you ask it to double check it, you reason with that, go through a few iterations. You can just, you sometimes tell kids, when they actually answer a question quickly, they will tell you think about that, think about, and ask questions back and forth, reason. That the reasoning capability, so it becomes active collaborate. So let's go to next step. So this is actually a slide which I added, which is I really like this. So this is about my friend. He has actually a gelato company, and he's an engineer. He's not actually really an IT guy. I mean, he's not like me who actually wrote programs for 20 years or something like that. He is purely going by the need of the business, right? So what he want to do, he has a gelato store and the gelato base are there. Various type of gelatos are there, and he has to actually take the inventory, right? Every hour, or I don't know what time he takes, but an interval he actually checks to see if the gelato is finishing. Some gelatos gets over, becomes popular in seasonally days. Saturday and Sunday, one particular gelato will be the flavor of the day. Everybody wants that. That gets over finished. Unless somebody actually takes the inventory in a frequent intervals, he will not be able to refill the gelato correctly, right? This is, if you have run a business like that, you will understand this is a common requirement. So the guy, initially he was talking about something, he wanted to actually do this thing, but what he did was kind of interesting. He actually built a thing where he actually asked the person who's, or the kids who are actually running the place, to record a video of the freezer shelves, right? Where the gelato is kept and all that, and then the actual bay of where gelato is placed, and then maybe take pictures of that. All counts, the AI, actually not all, actually the AI, Claude or ChatGPT or something, it actually counts the inventory automatically. Looking at the video or the pictures, he actually counts the inventory automatically, and it gets updated and alerts when the stock is low. A lot of things you can do with this thing. You can order the inventory automatically and all that, but this is a simple application, right? You actually give an iPhone application like this to the person who is running the store, and then when he actually takes a picture, upload the picture into there, and the inventory is automatically updated. What a beautiful thing! I don't know. I mean, this is why I don't have actually a code or a picture or anything. I think I had a picture, but nothing like that. But it's called KBay app, and he has actually using that app for a while. In my opinion, this is actually how one should actually think about this. If you are actually an entrepreneur, you want to actually run something outside, or your friend is something outside, you want to help, you should think that way. You all this you can actually, it was so difficult to actually make an app in iPhone to record the video of the things, and then actually invoke the LLM. When I say LLM, it's ChatGPT or Claude, behind the scenes automatically, and then understand if the stock is low. You do this manually. I mean, I don't know. I mean, whether you do or not, but you should do. Because you can always take a picture and and ask ChatGPT what it is, right? That's very common usage among more kids and people who are actually with heavy users, power users of ChatGPT. They don't know much about it, but they will actually upload a picture and ask ChatGPT what it is. So that's all what he has done, but he has actually done it in code. He has created an iPhone app which actually does that. If the gelato process can be revolutionized, so what is stopping you? I'm just asking that question. This is actually what I'm putting in your mind. Everybody has to be an entrepreneur, right? You have to think about what you want to develop and what you want to contribute. Money will come later, but this will help you, because you don't need actually a Mathew or a programmer to actually make this for you. If you become familiar, I mean, this person, my friend, I asked him, do you have any ideas? Because I have no ideas. I have no original ideas. I am full with the programs and all that. I no original ideas. So I keep asking people, do you have any ideas? Do you have an idea that I can actually create an iPhone app or a program or something like that can be useful, right? I keep asking people, and when I asked it, he actually said, I have a lot of ideas, but I can do it myself. So then I think I told him that there's this product called Claude Code. You go there and use it, and you will be able to build it yourself. And this is what I'm doing. I'm not teaching it fully. I just want to show some demos, and I want to actually trigger an entrepreneur in you. So anyway, this is actually the demo that I made for all of you. I created a finance finance tracker application, and what time is it? It's 10:15. I will quickly go through that. We are actually I don't know how much time. We started at 9:30. It's almost 45 minutes. What I actually do is I ask it, build me a finance tracker where I can add expenses, categorize them, and a pie chart of my spending and by category, right? I mean, and TFI, right? So I ask him, paint your vision in words, witness and polish and launch it. So this is an iPhone app. This is an iPhone application. That's a second application. So first, I will have a website, and then I will go ahead. So let me actually go into that demo. And demo is actually here. You can still see my screen, I guess. And then I'll move this still here. And you have to, Manoj, can you actually clear these? I don't know what is the.
That is the annotations that you made.
Not me, but
No?
Is it I made the annotation? Maybe I actually pressed the wrong button. Anyway, let me quickly go through this, and I will. This is a video, right? I'm just in a terminal session. This is how Claude Code is right now. I'll show you another way to do that if you are intimidated by something like this, but it will actually get in there. I just want to show you at least how this. How you invoke Claude Code and how it starts and all that, because I used a thing called see this command is called dangerously skip permissions. I'll just stop here, and the command is Claude dangerously skip permissions, which enables me to. It doesn't ask me a lot of questions. In there it just goes and does what it does. You wouldn't want to use that. When you actually make a program, you have to be interactive, and people in the waiting room. Okay. In there, and that's what it. So this is Claude Code. This is Claude Code, right? I mean, hopefully you can see this thing. I actually use Opus 4.5 as my model, and Claude Code is the software that I am using, and this is actually its emblem, right? And then the next step I am doing is I'm going to ask it to create a web application. That's what I'm doing. So if you go in, I'm going to paste some text in here, and when the next line comes, I'll stop it. And this is a little detailed because I wanted it in a specific way, and but essentially what I'm actually doing is I ask it build a finance tracker web application deployed in Docker. Some of these things which you don't have to worry about that. You could just ask him, build a financial application. Docker is something which I use because it kind of keeps my computer clean. And then I actually give it a tech stack and all that. This you can actually, I'll tell you. I mean, once this demo is started, when demos are over, I will actually tell you what you should do inside. I actually go into a lot of details here, and you can actually grab it from somebody else, right? I mean, if you have an application, build a finance tracker for Malayali Engineers Association, then you could do it in a different way. So I actually go. It actually does this thing called slithering here, and it keeps building it. Now what it is it's actually finding my directory where I am. And it's almost behaving like a human. What it does is it thinks and it actually creates this application. It actually does, it started writing code. I wouldn't actually spend a lot of time. This is what it is doing. This is very important to me in a programmer, because this is exactly how a programmer works. Not exactly, but mostly the programmer starts writing, think about the idea, and once that thinking process I didn't show you, but there is actually that. But this one. It actually starts writing code in there. Now we will not actually. It will take 10 minutes for it to actually go through it. That it creates a databases and all. So we'll skip this. We have very little time, so we will go to the end of it where it is actually at that point. It is actually it is actually it's a point where it has created a database, it has created the application, all that it is there, and it's actually ready to present the application to you. So what this is, it is actually opening a local thing. Some errors happen, like this errors happen. It actually thinks and solves the problems by itself. It's autonomous in every nature, and once this is done, it takes. I could speed up, but I didn't know. I want to actually that dramatic field. It is actually starting the application, and then it tells me that I actually done with the application, what is included, what pages are involved, and the databases and styles and all that, and how to start and stop the application. Now, in few minutes, I ask him, I want to actually open this page so that I can actually I copy it in there and ask it to. And then by the time, if you actually look at the bottom of the screen, it's actually saying open the application. And when I don't even actually think much. I actually just tell it to open the application. It actually thinks where the application is, how to open the application, and then it opens my browser. It goes into there and it opens the application. Now, when I started with this initially, I wanted to actually go through a session where I should actually, put this, show you live how it can be done. It can be done easily, but it may take time, and it's difficult to actually go through that. But this is the application, a dashboard, transactions, budgets, and for me, so I think I will actually go through this application a little bit and all that, but ultimately you will see that it's just a fairly complex application, but nothing serious. I don't even actually look at the functionality of the application. I just want to actually see how the application was. Now this demo is I will actually go into the demo next demo, which is actually the mobile app, and we'll quickly run through that. It shouldn't take that. And now you understand what is happening at least. I mean, you wouldn't know what I am doing fully, but you will understand what is going on, how I actually do. So this is where we were. We were actually at this point where it actually MEF Finance Tracker application was open. Now the next step I'm doing is actually the mobile application. I am just going to ask it. I'll put my prompt in there, and then it will show the prompt now. Yeah, see this. It will ask, can you make build a finance tracker iOS application with React Native? I put what I want to use. I mean, I just want to actually be a little more control over that, but otherwise he will do that. And then at the end, and open this in the simulator. I mean, I'm not actually in the phone, so there's actually something called simulator, and then run that. And so all I'm doing this much. I mean, you have to understand this. The prompt is what I am giving, and I once I actually do that, it actually does its work. It actually thinks by itself. All this you can actually do easily, right? So and then it goes into there almost at the end. I will actually go. No, that's not okay. So I think it is at this point it is starting and all that. And maybe here it opened the simulator. So simulator is actually where it's actually just a little phone in your computer where you can test an application first. And then there's actually a lot of work actually deploying these things. The web application needs to be deployed in a public site like Amazon Web Service or Azure or Google or something like that. And similarly, the iPhone app needs to be deployed on the App Store. And there's some work involved. I'm not actually denying that, but it only took about 5 minutes to actually create this application. And if you look at that, it's actually opening up the application here. All I told it is to actually create this application. You will take a little bit of time to actually make this all the tools available. I didn't have the simulator initially in my computer, but you can see that immediately that opens, and in a little bit time, I think it's still actually loading. Come on. So it actually opens that application, and there's nothing I wouldn't say nothing technical about this, but you are actually creating things from the prompt, and you can ask once this is created and you actually displayed at the first phase, you can actually test it and see if it works or not, and then that's the MEF Finance app it created. I didn't even create much of this. I mean, I told him a few things, but that's it. Now what I was actually showing, and I don't know how to show this. This is actually, I'm saying that, it's the same backend database that it is, 12,500 was the top expenses. Here, if you actually look at the balance was 1781. And if I actually create a transaction here, that's what I'm trying to actually do there in both the screens. If I create a transaction here, it is all in the same database so that it will appear here correctly. That said, I think, I don't know what time it is. 10:25.
Mathew, I was about to say that. So a quick time check. We are at 10:25, so officially timing ends at 10:30. But we can continue the session. The Zoom meeting is on, and there are people who joined late, so probably they would want to continue hearing it. You can proceed. Just wanted to.
I think this is.
Sorry, just one more thing. There was a question on the chat when you showed this app, like from Smita. Would you be sharing the prompts?
I could share the prompts. It's actually very simple to make it up, but I will share the prompts.
Okay, thank you. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay, so I am going to actually just clean up a little bit. I think I just want to revisit what you saw here very quickly, very fast, is that we actually created a web application and an iPhone application for financial management. Financial it's because I actually took that example, right? I mean, there's so many programs you can write. I mean, the ice cream, the gelato case. In your own work, you could actually work. I mean, you can think about life itself. I was actually thinking about this program where I wanted to actually check the power supply, right? We have actually ERCOT here, and the power actually becomes less. The supply demand equation becomes complex. When the winter storm happens, and I wanted to track it and alert me if the supply and demand actually comes very close. And things are actually available in the web, and I could actually ask Claude Code to. I have this use case. I want to track it, and my use case is very clear. I want to know if supply and demand comes very close. I have to be prepared. So I need an email or an alert or SMS as soon as the SMS is coming. And you can do it in many ways, but that's the type of thinking that you have to do before you actually approach Claude Code. But this is where you can actually. I'm just saying the iPhone app is what we showed. And then I think I want to actually take a not a break, but a different tangent in there. So all this is done. What do you think is going to happen? Because this is actually a huge power that is handed over to everybody in there, right? Everybody can actually make this happen. And I'm telling you now, as soon as you play with the Claude Code, you will actually find some problems, but in about a week or 2 weeks or something like that, you will be able to develop a professional quality web application or an iPhone application or a program. You can actually make other programs, like control programs and all that, systems programs. But what will happen is that some people are going to evolve. There will be some people who are actually able to do this better than other people, right? What will happen? The superhuman, the maestro, is going to actually have many sessions. He will have actually many Claude Code sessions. CC is Claude Code. He will have actually, the creator of Claude Code, he runs 6 Claude Code sessions, and it's almost like 6 people, right? 6 people actually working for him. I mean, this is not unknown to a lot of people here. I mean, because if you are actually an offshore, a manager who is actually controlling offshore, there may be 10 people in India who is actually working for you. And creating some software, right? You are actually giving that, and actually have 10 people actually jointly working together to produce a product. That people becomes AI agents. That's a change. And then whoever can control this in a massive scale becomes actually superhuman. So there's already people like that there, but I can only actually run one Claude Code. I couldn't. I mean, this mobile app and the web app I could generate parallelly. I'm trying to do that, but I know it's not that easy. So running this in a massive scale and using this effectively becomes the next toolkit. The code that it generates is not actually the best code, but if you actually develop the skills to reason with it, develop the skills to improve it and check it and guard it and all that, when you actually do that in a massive scale, that becomes that's the type of people who actually command huge salaries in the next market. In my opinion. So I don't know whether I will actually. I think I actually am going to quickly go through this Claude Cowork. I mean, the Claude Code part of the demo is over, but Claude Cowork is an application, and I'll just throw this term out there. Check this. this is going to change in everybody's life, because this is the Code application thing that I showed you was actually a programmer's tool. This is actually for a business user. What you can do is you can actually in a lot of different things that you can do in a precise way. You can do some of these things in ChatGPT and all that, but when you actually use Code, you're actually using all this in actually in a very precise way, and then I'll show you one thing also, Claude. Okay, so I actually, I am not going to show this because create a project status dashboard with 4 cards showing tasks completed, hours done, clean, modern design with the blue account. So Claude Cowork actually does that, and show you. You need to check it up. It's a completely different thing. I mean, the thing is, you can have actually skills added to that. If you are a mechanical engineer, you can have actually a mechanical skill downloader. There is App Store like things they're actually cooking up, and where you can actually download a skill, mechanical skill, and it actually immediately makes you actually a super mechanical engineer. And that's kind of the end of it. I was saying that, this is actually what happened. This is actually a diagram I like a lot. It's called a Cambrian explosion. That's what the term here. And then I will quickly say this. This is actually not connected to the demo, but what happened when human beings or not human beings, the mammals emerged. I mean, there was actually a long time where there was no activity. There was like some stupid animals, and life was there, but it was all there. But all of a sudden, something happened when mammals emerged at the scene. And then when mammals emerged, they actually quickly evolved. And there's like hundreds of thousands of species quickly. And that process is actually called the Cambrian explosion. I'm just saying that if in January you have actually this many tools out there, by end of this year we will have a different world. We stand not at the summit, but at the foothills of a new mountain. That's pretty much it. I think next door there's actually a slide a slide about the Claude bot, but this also you should check it out. I mean, if you are into that, I mean, you have to be very careful with this. This is actually a lot of security issues right now. So I want to actually warn you. I mean, this is next. All I talked about was actually January. This is more like end of January, February. Open Claude. That name itself is changed. It's actually a way in which agents can collaborate, right? Check it out if you are actually into that. It's a different thing. Just Google Open Claude and then check it out. I think I have also some kind of waste slides in here, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of things happening. This is actually a moment in my life. Actually, in my life, all my life from 1971 when I was born to here, I think internet was actually one huge revolution. But after that, I'm just glad to be here to witness something like this. But I wouldn't understand it fully. Maybe you will, or you may not, even if at the end. But it's actually a industrial revolution kind of moment that we have. And I just want to say that this presentation was fully developed by Cowork. It's not, I didn't develop. Most of the work was actually done. I just gave him an outline and he went and developed that. All these fancy words, I asked it to make it. So thank you. And if you have any questions, I will actually take them.
Yeah, Mathew, there are there's some questions in the chat. One is from Gobi. I don't know, Gobi is still there. What do you recommend for young aspiring computer graduates?
I think it's not a difficult question, but I'm just where is it actually? Yeah, I think it is what you have to do is you have to be passionate about the new technology and willingness to try it carefully. I mean, there's a lot of risk involved in giving a kid actually access to some of these things, but you have to be passionate about that. I mean, and that only develops by talking to like attending this webinar and talking to people who are in their YouTube videos, and the new tools are coming so fast that if I said you use Claude Code. That's not actually a good advice, right? Because other product, I mean, by the time Claude Code actually came last year, December is when it actually became very popular because the model behind that is became very smart. And then, in like yesterday or day for yesterday, ChatGPT has released their coding productive. Good. Right now in short time, I think people should actually start coding. I mean, kids in your home, and depending on their age and all that, they should actually start coding. I mean, they should actually start developing an iPhone app. I mean, some of these things which actually are, you have to actually pay. The tokens expire pretty fast. You have to get a better subscription. You have to pay the subscription. The free subscription is not good one, but I think it's all investment. Kids should actually start developing applications. They have actually the right ideas. They may not actually know Rust or Python or any of those things, but they have the right idea. So if they actually can, right now, I mean, somebody was saying that, right now the next Facebook is actually some kid is actually developing the next Facebook or a bigger product than that vibe coding. You talk to it and code. That actually art is called vibe coding. So vibe coding, right? Vibe coding is happening, and somebody is developing vibe coding because they don't have to be a programmer anymore. They can actually develop it and talk to the AI and make it better. Maybe I answered that question.
I guess so. Yes. And there was another question from Suja. I see that Suja, you are still there. You want to ask the question?
Yeah. So what resources do you have at home to run the bot like this, and what costs involved? The bot is actually the Claude bot, and it's expensive right now. I will admit that hardly. I used to have a $20 subscription for Claude, and because I'm actually in this field, I do pay $20 to opt with ChatGPT. From the beginning ChatGPT happened, Claude I started actually giving it $20 subscription, what's it called? The cost of Claude has actually gone up significantly because when you do this coding in Claude, it actually becomes it finishes your tokens pretty fast. You may have to actually I have a max plan. I don't think I'll actually keep it for a long time. Depending on how much I use it, I'll actually keep it. But you can start it with the $20 subscription of the Claude thing. There are actually other ways to do that with cheaply, freely. But the models you still have to play for the models, because the models are actually like the two models out there, ChatGPT's newest model and Claude's newest model. Those are actually still expensive. There are Chinese models out there. If you want to take risks, you can actually get a free model and use it.
Okay. And there's another question, Mathew, from Aromal. Can an agentic AI be cognitive if such capabilities are implemented with it?
Yeah, I personally, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, this is, when it started, it is all about, it started with these things are actually language models, right? So, auto-completion is when this started, and, we have reached this point. So everybody is saying that, we will actually get AGI, that is, general intelligence, artificial general intelligence in 2 to 3 months. What that is, nobody knows. And people have been saying it for a while. Some of this, when I talk to Claude Opus, that model, I mean, not any other model, that particular model, what I'm talking about is this particular model, this model here called Opus, right? Opus 4.6. This is released last Thursday, and it's super capable. It's something out of the world. I mean, is it cognitive? I don't know, but it can find actually bugs in my code that I didn't realize. It could actually, these days I am actually not even actually, if I get an error in code or something, I'll just paste it in there and it will actually find it. It has become so smart. I wouldn't say scary, but it is very possible. I mean, it's hyping, but I think it's very possible, Araval. When you actually start when you actually pass out from the engineering college, we will probably have actually a artificial general intelligence there. We may not have anything, but we will have something close.
I have tried to implement cognitive on top of an LLM. So I built a hormonal mode system powered with a classifier like Go emotions. Then I built a personality engine top of it so that the personality keeps evolving. All these things were done on top of Quen, which is run by llama.cpp and powered by FastAPI backend.
Yeah, very cool, man. I haven't done this. I will admit that I don't. It's actually that thing in your young people that you have actually the inspiration to do stuff. I just for other people here, right? I mean, I'll just explain. what he did that said there is he actually implemented things above. This is Aromal talking, right? Manoj? Who was
Yes.
talking?
Yes.
So Aromal is actually one of our students in an engineering college there. They actually may not have access to the expensive models that we play here. So they actually use this model called Quen, which is actually a close to free, I don't know, actually, model. And he has actually done projects above that to run it actually locally. He didn't have to worry about the tokens that I worry about. And he actually did certain things above that. Very good. I mean, this is what I want to hear actually.
The entire project runs offline. And I even added voice capabilities to it. Like it has a bicameral architecture, like a small LLM, like 1.5 billion parameter. One guides the 7B parameter LLM. And all this runs on my CPU and GPU.
What is
Very good, very good.
LLM?
Oh, the language model. I used to actually say this, large language model. So this ChatGPT is an LLM. Claude is an LLM. Quen, that the free one, which it's all large language models.
You guys need to be aware that for us, LLM is something different.
I know. See, that's the thing. The gap is so different, right? When Aromal is talking about that, I don't even know what he's talking about. I don't fully understand. I will gladly admit, when he said few things there, I didn't even know. And that gap, there's a lot of people I know who don't even know what is LLM. I mean, many people actually know. People should know, but it is that technology. That's the technology gap, and hopefully, this webinars can actually help in there.
So
Yeah.
where is
Matthew,
where is
This
Aramal
entire
now?
system.
Sojan, Aromal is my mentee. Aromal, you may want to introduce yourself, please.
Go ahead, Aromal.
Hello, sir. I am Aramal. I am from Pathanamthitta district. I am studying in College of Engineering, Chengannur. I am currently a third year student.
Okay, good. I
Good.
thought
Beautiful
he's
thing,
from
actually,
Matthew's college.
Yeah. And
part of it is somebody sitting in in Kerala in there can actually talk better than we actually claim. We have actually in US we have actually everything available, and we are actually I wouldn't say superior. We have every knowledge sources there, but I personally have no idea what he was talking about. He was doing something very special, but
This was
good luck.
purely from creativity.
And
Like I
I'm just
inspect from human brain model. That's right.
Continue, man. Make something, build something and make things work.
that's great. Yeah.
Maybe we should task him with updating MEA website.
Yeah. And
and I also think that maybe these kids are doing so many things, right? Maybe we can think about like having the very frequent sessions and let them share their the experimental things, so that actually inspiring others to do more and more, right? So I mean, if they are doing something, and it's always better to share with everyone. That's where the knowledge will be spreading, and it's kind of giving motivation and inspiration to others as well, right? So we have a lot of mentees, scholars there, right? Even we have a lot of the alumni people, students. They have done a great job in many of their areas. So we can think about something like a bringing that MEA Connect. You remember Sudhir was talking about that MEA Connect. It's very passive now. We can think about like make it more active, bring everybody together, and conduct these interesting sessions, right? Just a thought.
that's a good suggestion.
Let's take an action there. Would you be able to actually present to us on a you don't have to do a lot of preparation, but would it be a huge would it be difficult for you to actually make a presentation for us what you're doing?
Question is to Aramal.
Aromal, this is a question for you. And would you be willing to share your experiences?
I can surely tell my experience. It was like 6 months or of effort into this while managing college.
Is this
But
is it your project?
it is not. Yeah, it was my first project.
No, what Ms. Deepthi was saying, Aromal, was whether on a later on as a webinar later on, you can whether you are willing to share it with with us, as a webinar, just for information.
I think I can share the architecture, but right now the project is under development.
Yeah, maybe
And
after
Sure.
the completion, right? Yeah, because once his semester is over, once it's submitted, then he'll be able to present, right? I don't. I think that time will be better, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe between Sibia and Sojan, you can actually arrange it, man. I mean, I
Why
would be very
Sojan?
interested.
Sojan has nothing to do with
No,
it.
Matthew,
Sojan is a new committee.
Matthew, I will coordinate with Manoj and Aromal.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Correct. And
Yeah.
also maybe somebody else also doing like small POCs, may not be their college project, but they'll be doing some POCs because they are passionate about all these new trending things, right? So they can actually come and talk. Maybe what we can do from our side, we can actually just check with our mentees, and or maybe we can put something in that that mentee group. If somebody wants to talk about anything is okay, right? Maybe it can be these the code. Some things might be related to their engineering POCs or interest. So we can just create a platform for them to showcase what they like to. What they want to talk, right? Something like that.
Yeah, that's a good
So
idea. Yeah, I think
if
that we
it's
should
actually
certainly
doing maybe
explore. Yes.
monthly or maybe once in 2
Yeah.
months, it would be great, right? So we can also learn a lot from these young kids, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to one more question from Sanil. How much coding should I know to troubleshoot these codes that these models gives us, as an example of the financial tracker app?
At this, I didn't get time to actually show it, but you can actually ask the model. You can treat the model as a friend. You can actually ask that question to the model, right? And the model will tell you. You don't. I think when I coded. When I actually developed this, I didn't code any at all. No programming was done actually there. What I had to do was I have to actually some of my knowledge in the industry actually helped. Like this application is still running in my computer. How to actually deploy it. While we're talking, I'll actually talk to you. I created actually this is all people will actually make fun of you if you actually show this application in your computer, right? There's actually work involved in this application that I made. I could easily repurpose it church with the EMEA. What I could do is I actually used Google to log in, and this actually came in, and then once it actually comes over here, this whole application I actually finance tracker application I made by talking to it. I didn't do a coding. I actually know how I knew how this application should. Okay, this is just it's an admin transfer where I can actually manage members of a church, EMEA or whatever actually, and then reports can be generated. I can actually whatever price I gave, I can track it, right? When I did this application, I had to actually know certain things about the systems, like how to deploy this in a publicly available website and all that. But all that, even if I didn't know, I could ask the model. Right? Model is almost like your trusted expert buddy. So any question in technology you ask, you never actually. I always actually when I developed this first time, I actually tell I don't want to code. Coding can be later. I just want you to plan it out, revise, plan it out. It took actually me, like maybe a 4-hour, 5-hour sessions every day. Because I was actually very into that. It's like after work, I was coming home and actually making this code work. And then I actually learned a lot of things. That process you have to go through that process, that pain, to make it work. But once that is done, then you can actually easily go there. Like anything else, right? I mean, you have to deal with the AI. You have to actually, you have to learn to talk its language, which is actually nothing. It's common sense, but it's still, there. I think I would suggest actually, if you don't have to make a screen or something, but you ask it to make a program locally and work it and all that. And I would admit that, my friend, actually, the one which I talked about, the Gelato application, he creates programs, but it is not actually to my taste, because it is not actually an enterprise application to my, I would like to see more things in there, but his applications are useful. He may not have actually a database there, but his applications are iPhone applications. So start with a simple iPhone application that an idea, and that will be easy. You don't have to write any code. I don't actually know how to write an iPhone application. It's a different way, Swift and React and all that. I didn't write a single line of code. I think if you have an engineering mindset, right, connecting things, putting that thing, and go there and read that thing or ask AI, then you will be able to make it.
Mathew, if I have to make something where there is something that's already existing and I want to use that as a prototype, or does that take that, like, this is based on this, build something?
Yeah. Actually, that's people have, there's actually this big site called Reddit, right? Reddit is actually, I wouldn't want to go into Reddit right now because it could be not family friendly, but Reddit is the front page. Somebody actually cloned Reddit. You ask the AI, LLM, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever, actually is a powerful LLM to actually look at this site and clone, right? I mean, and make. I actually, if we have time, I'm not actually. I don't think, but I'll just say, this is what I will do. Nina asked that question. This is Cowork or Claude. Sometimes I just actually. I think let's actually see new conversation, and I want to work on a folder. Yeah, and that's so. My question here is, can you clone? Oh, hold on. Can you clone an existing website? Nina, do you have an example?
I don't know, maybe Zillow tracker or something, Zillow rental tracker.
Zillow. Don't code. Just give me a plan. A paste plan, right? So this is actually the prompt. It's very important. I mean, you have to ask it correctly. I'm not asking it fully, but I'll just trust Opus to actually come up with an answer. And then the Opus is actually a little slow because it thinks, and it actually, yeah. So I think somebody was asking actually what kind of code. This is actually this is a common stack now. You actually set it up. Then property listing, it goes into there and phases, and you can execute these phases. And you don't have. I mean, this may need actually a lot of tokens because Zillow is actually. But this is how you would actually do that. It actually gives you a plan, and then you can actually revise the plan. You can say that phase 3 I will skip. See, the thing, it actually goes into a good thing, right? For example, authentication. You wouldn't think about that, but you want to have authentication. So that's the phase 3. Property listing space. If I actually sit in here, I know that by the end of the day, I will have actually these two ready.
I see. Okay. That's good. Thanks, Mathew.
Good. People actually do. This is actually a thing, actually, because one fear about some people is that, what if I don't need actually a paid website, if my company can actually copy it, and there might be some copyright and copy left and all that evolving. I was showing again another thing which I probably should stop and all that, but this thing's called plugins, where actually Claude released these plugins. These are actually not computer thing, right? It's actually customer support, data, enterprise search, finance, productivity, legal. And when that legal plugin was released by Anthropic, market tanked because they understood that there's a lot of people who are going to a lot of legal. This is legal speed up contract review. This is actually a real legal expert that is working for you.
Okay, good. I know that I guess there are no more further questions. I don't see anything on the chat unless somebody want to ask. But we'll be uploading this into our YouTube channel, and we'll communicate that in the group. I think that's all. So thank you very much, Mathew, for taking us through. This was very insightful, and it showed based on the interaction that everyone had, right? So I think there was a lot of interest in it to learn things, which is coding seems like a big thing for others. Now you were showing live examples where it was it made it very easy now. I know that there are prompts that we need to make sure all of them. So probably this will help. You might get questions from people separate about something if they want a clarification, but this was really helpful. And thanks for taking the time. And thank you everyone for attending the session. And hope everyone have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Donda.
Thank you.
Mathew.